But two. Hey, hey, hey. Great to be with you and wanted to come on an hour and a half before an incredibly exciting event takes place. We are having a journey into the kingdom within experience. It's a summit. I don't know who specifically is going to come, but what I know is that the right people are going to come. And I thought it was perfect that, in keeping with the theme of reading a chapter a day from Joyriding the Universe, today it is a new breed of God, and it is only a 4-page chapter. So I am very much looking forward to reading this incredibly short chapter. It's actually only 3 pages. My goodness, can you believe it? Well, I would love to know where you're from when you actually watch this replay, so leave in the comments to let me know. I do care, you do matter, and you are where you are because you are the lighthouse or beacon for those in your area that are looking to you to be the lighthouse in their life, the way that I may be being one when you get this message. So I'm going to read to you A New Breed of God. Would you describe for us what we have to look forward to when we make the jump to the other side? You know, all the wildest ideas and fantasies and what the good stuff is? Amplify that about 1,000 times and then you're close. The one thing that all of you want here actually boils down to a feeling of freedom. That freedom is a freedom to be you. It is a freedom to manifest and to be the God that you are. When you hit the edge of that, you move with a velocity that you have never experienced. It is the biggest rush you will ever have in existence until something bigger comes along. These are some better ones. I've tried those too. When you hit the edge of that, every one of your barriers and every one of your inhibitors are released. When I talk about inhibitors, I don't mean the moral ones. I'm talking about the ones that repress you and keep you from doing things. I'm talking about the ones that keep you as the rigid adult, the one that tells you you can't do anything. When you hit the edge of that, you are so free that you will dance and laugh and sing like you have never done in your soul before. Amplify your wildest expectations by at least 1,000 times, and that is what is there. It is the biggest rush, the biggest thrill, the biggest exhilaration you will ever find in your existence. When you've done it, you will wonder why you didn't do it 10 million years ago. Then you'll realize that you had to go through all this so that it would be even more impressive. It is a thrill. Moving to that side is the birth into being your own God. Inside the womb of this physical matrix, you are still at the mercy of everybody around you. You are gaining your own strength so that you don't have to be. But it is a fact of the schematics here. You're going to be affected by what you are around. Inside the womb, you are in a subjective reality. You are subjective gods. You can do some things, but that process of getting outside of this womb objectifies you into full-fledged godness. I guarantee you, your ideas of what a god is and what a god really is are two different things. A lot of you have a very solemn idea of what a god is. That would be rather boring. Your god has arms, legs, and head. Your God has arms, legs, a head, and he's very solemn and very punishing. When you understand what a god is, it is so different than all the ideas and the myths ever were. You will wonder where they came from. When you make that last journey through the womb, you go back into the wholeness of the universe. It is the biggest thrill you will ever find, I guarantee it. From that point, you are unlimited. Right now, even your ideas of unlimitedness are a limitation. You can take what you consider to be your most unlimited thought, and it is limited by the very fact that you thought of it. You can get to that point. It is a space of intensity of love. That love is different than what you are experiencing too. It is an intensity. Right now, you are all being held in it. It's an unconditional love. It is so unconditional you can't even feel it. You came into these bodies to gain sensory perception so that when you break the edge of that womb, you can feel it. Up to that point in time, no God that ever journeyed in it could ever feel the love. You are just it. You just are it. and it so unconditional that you right now, it would feel like air sitting on your hand. It is that unconditional. When you get clear in your vibrations to such a point where you can breach and break the womb of your own consciousness and go out and into that objectification, you'll take your sensory perceptions. Then you'll be a God that can feel the raw stuff, and you'll be a God that knows how to use it. You here are a new breed of God. I'm not saying that to flatter you. It is a truth. Originally, there were sources that could do nothing but source. Creators organized it, but they didn't even know how to make the stuff. This experience here is to teach you to do both. You will be a new breed of God that can source your own material and create with it at the same time. There has never been a God like that before. You are a new breed of God, and I would be very proud of it. That's what is waiting for you on the other side. You will be able to play in the universal raw material, and you will learn how to make your own. And you're going to start by loving yourself into existence. Then you can create, because that's what you are all doing here. You are organizing your lives minute by minute. Then there are a few other bonuses waiting too. You'll be a new breed of God and some of the first ones to be born. That is grand. Our time is up. I love you. I have had a grand time with you. I appreciate you for allowing me to come visit you. Be at peace, not in pieces. Be in love and joy. You are God's, and I love you as the gods that you are. Have a good time. Good night. Is from Joyriding the Universe, the chapter that was called A New Breed of God. So very short and sweet this evening, which is great because at 8 p.m. we are going to be going live again. And this time it's a summit. You can get the details on Meetup under Peaceful Inner Warriors United or on my Telegram group, Peaceful Inner Warriors United Assembly. Would love to have you be part of Telegram because that community is where I share the best that I've got. And tonight's conversation, I think, is going to be definitely up there because the people I have messaged, my goodness, there are some incredible gods in there, and you are a god yourself. And if you're curious about that or you're not quite certain, go back to on New Year's Eve when I actually read the chapter called Old Bored Gods, the Old Bored Gods, of which we were them who either were old and bored and able to create a planet in a day and it didn't rattle our boat anymore. And so then we chose to support the entrepreneurial young apprentice god that was just really curious and willing to try things. And so we sponsored them and then we kind of advised. Well, we're kind of all doing that with one another, right? So I just wanted to kind of put that out there too. And I read that on Christmas Eve. If you haven't already watched it, I would highly recommend it. I am going to go through and condense them all and put them into just like one solid audio book. So then we can go through and listen to them later on too. But for now, I just wanted to bring you today's chapter. I want to invite you for 8 o'clock this evening for that conversation. And I want to say too, I'm actually in the process of reviewing Neil Sperling's 4-part video series, and I am breaking down the idea with all of those videos so that it's less time intensive for you to get the point, because the point is phenomenal and it is about ending human trafficking. But what I want to do is actually bring in an added angle. I want to bring in a slant because I want to say that you're actually being trafficked. I was being trafficked, and now because I finally learned who I am and no longer choose to be a surety for any set of personage that would have me be other than I am as a woman in my private capacity with all common law rights reserved at all times, standing for myself, for my rights, and for the rights of my fellow man and woman. Standing that way means that I'm no longer statusing. And so anybody that is statusing because they're taking on a personage, a title, a job description, that is making them actually be less than they are. And when we actually realize that the men and women that are doing various things to undermine other men and women ultimately are paying with a karmic price that will be very heavy on a soul level later on. So I would encourage any of the fact checkers, for instance, that go around and basically bring down truth tellers or whistleblowers because you need to discredit our story in order to have a job. Well, I want you to know that your soul is paying a very high price for your choice to participate in this corrupted scheme. And I want you to know also that the propaganda that is being spread, the ones that are spreading it, even if it was just reading a prescription, does not save you from the karmic implications of people seeing your face that they trust and then buying what you're selling because they trust you to sell it to them. You'll pay. And you're already going to pay for the choices that you've made to this point. And so now it's time for you to decide whether you're going to continue to make choices to sell your fellow man and woman out, or whether you are instead going to make a better choice for you and for your fellow man and woman. Because when you benefit yourself, when you make choices that actually align with the conscience, the conscience within you, that is when then you become more than just a hypothesis of what could have been with the life that you've got right now to live. Because when you choose to not live your life, when you actually do what the devil would say is in the details, that is when you just lived backwards, literally. Spell it. Lived, devil? Yes. Frontwards, backwards. Same very well thing, my friend. It's time for you to understand the devil's in the details and the law is how we access our truth and power in who and whose we are, which is why tonight we will come together to talk about the kingdom within. Oh, I hope you have a great night. Toodaloo, Laura Jane, namaste, namago. Thank you. Hope to see you tonight. Toodaloo.